my assertion toward one Nigeria is, we can agree, you have your own leader, whether anybody accept it or not. The only leader with a powerful mantle of leadership from the eastern part of Nigeria is Nnamdi Kanu. There is a difference between ruler and a leader. You may have governors, you may have senators. Those are your rulers because they are using power to force you to do what you don't like. But Nnamdi Kanu, when he tell you everybody should not go out tomorrow, you people refuse to go out, not because you are afraid of Nnamdi Kanu, but because you believe he cannot choose something that can hurt you.
Okay.
That is what we call leadership. And equally, each and every region should have this kind of people. Then we should come together. We are Nigeria. We will enjoy our strategic location in terms of business. You are Biafran, you are moving into northern Nigeria to do your business. You don't need visa because we are a Nigerian. You are northerner, you want to go to Biafra to do your business. You don't need visa because you are a Nigerian. But the resources of Biafra should be controlled by Biafrans. Okay. The security architecture of Biafra should be provided by Biafrans. The resources of Oduduwa Republic should be controlled by Oduduwans. The security architecture and the economic policy as well as customary law should be an indigenous system that a Yoruba man will never feel that his culture, his history is being tempered under a system that is not fair and just to him. The same thing in northern Nigeria. Northerners should have a system that is working for them. There is no problem for people of different history, people of different religion, people of different background to be under the one system. But the difference is, can we accept our differences and live in peace and harmony? Can respect of one another be part of our differences? Wherever you see chaos, wherever you see conflicts, wherever you see crisis, it was initiated by injustice. If the Biafran people, they feel equally treated like other people from the other region, there should be no question of cessation.
Okay.
So Nigeria should have a single army. This our army should be Nigerian army. But the policing, there should be nothing like Nigerian police. There should be nothing like Nigerian custom. We should have Biafra regional custom, the northern regional custom, because if a northerners, they don't want to beer and alcohol in their region, they forbid it. It was not a it's not an exhibit if you go to Biafra land. So therefore, Biafran custom have the right to clear it to their own land. But if you bring somebody from Kano to clear what will enter Biafra land, whatever he see that to tamper his culture will touch his brain, will change his psychological thinking, it will now cause confusion.
Okay, thank you.
Those who I'm coming. Yeah. Those who created this system, they don't mean well for the North. They don't mean well for Nigeria. They don't mean well for Biafran, and they don't mean well for this thing. For them, Nigeria is just like a company for them. And choosing a general manager called president to put him here, and he has no power to implement any policy. If you allow me to be a president of Nigeria today, a Nigerian choose to abide by what I will say, by the year 2040, Nigeria will be among the most powerful nations in the world, not only in Africa. They say we are the giant of Africa. We are only sleeping giant. We are suffering like other African countries. We are suffering diseases like other African countries. We are suffering from poverty like other African countries. We are suffering from illiteracy like other African countries. We are suffering from corruption like other African countries. Then what makes us giant?
Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay? Oh, we are what we do, not what we say we are.
Thank you.
And we are what we represent to you, not what you perceive we are.
Allah go bless you.
And what I want you to understand, Jobless King here, what he was saying, he disliked the approach. You didn't even listen to us throughout the discussion. Our discussion was not No, you see, our discussion was not initially on this issue. Our discussion was in the generality of Africa. What is the fate of Africa in a modern generation? If you carefully study what entirely Africa is engulfed into, each and every African nation is suffering from nearly the same problem. And our problem is an imperial system being imposed on us by imperial arrogant powers that will not allow Africa to strive and develop as a continent. And we say we need leaders who understand what Africa needs. At this moment, what Africa needs is leadership, not necessarily democracy, because we don't know democracy before the coming of these colonial masters. And if you look at what they are offering or practicing in their own country, it is not necessarily democracy, it is their national interest. So yes, we as Africans should be in a system that we will relate to any country, whether that country is Europe or whatever that country is, but we can only relate to that country based on mutual respect, where we are benefiting from the relationship, they are also benefiting. But in a situation whereby now, despite the abundant crude oil we have here in Nigeria, now see how much we are buying in liter. Many people believe maybe it is because of this or that. The reason is that there is a policy of pushing away fossil fuel as a main source of energy, and because majority of the country that are the countries hegemonic system today, they are falling apart. Now there is raising powers. So the goal is moving into multipolarity.
When we talk about how far Nigeria has progressed, I think it would also be fair to talk about how far we could not progress because of the manner in which we came together. The North was the hegemonic group. It had a virtual veto over the two southern states. A veto in the sense that in terms of size, it was virtually 3 times bigger than the two southern regions. And therefore, it meant whoever was going to run Nigeria was going to be linking the North and one of the two southern regions. The NCNC and the Action Group, the two southern states, could not work together. The NCNC and the NPC, the Northern People's Congress, had reached an agreement by 1958 as to how they would come together. But they could not, properly speaking, form a government until they had discussed how to share Nigeria. And the decision they reached, I keep saying this, the decision they reached was to give virtually all the big jobs that will be vacated by colonialists to one of the political parties, because in their constituency, that is to say in the Eastern constituency, they had a lot of educated people who could fill the jobs. The North made the concession, but that was also why Zik, whose party really ought to have produced the prime minister because of the number of seats and votes they got, had conceded that the North would produce the prime minister, and the leader, the NCNC, will produce a ceremonial president. That changed the chemistry of the Nigerian nation. But beyond that was this, that the regions that needed to be created were also well known from the very beginning. It was not only the 3 regions. All those who were campaigning for self-governorship in the North, in the East, and in the West were largely prevented from doing so. By the time the Civil War forced us to get to that point, we still refused to take the right decision. Why? Because by 1959-1960, the division of the Nigerian state began with 1, all the military installations going to one region, all the railway extensions going to one region, the Kainji Dam going to one region, the iron and steel industry going to one region, because of that share out that I spoke of at the beginning. Because all the big jobs, the big railway men were from the east. The big directors were from the east. Even in the military, the officer corps was commanded by the east. It is usually described as a state. I mean, there was a country, Chinua Achebe talked very approvingly of the domination of the East at that time. But that is actually the point. Although they had all the big officers in these organizations, the ground on which all of them functioned lay where the veto holder was. And that veto holder managed to have enough soldiers to keep a propaganda of arms in place that made it impossible for any changes to take place. Even if you had a conference today, there is bound to be a veto holder input that will change it. How to change it has been the central issue of Nigeria. How do you restructure in the face of a veto holder who would always intervene to make sure that you don't get a change?
There are Southerners who have been exercising veto in the course of Nigerian history.
I will explain
so
this.
It's not as if it's only in the north.
I will explain this.
Hegemony.
The average educated Nigerian, in order to be shown as a liberal, very freedom-loving, democratic person, is always trying to be nice to the North. There is no reason to be nice to the North. They are our brothers, and we have a right to fight over the issues that we need to change. It is no longer right to be nice to the North, because in this particular case, I give you a very good example now. You have a governor who tells you that all the non-Nigerian Fulanis must be catered for by the Nigerian state, and actually argues against the respect for international boundaries, argues against national policies on the grounds that one ethnic group, which just happened to be the ethnic group with which the British worked out an alliance, should permanently remain a freeholder, moving across all boundaries, respecting no laws and things of that nature. If you are talking about all Nigerians having a right, that is a claim to a divine right that you are not allowed to touch unless you belong to that ethnic fraction in Nigeria. If that ethnic fraction had the means to create a nation, they would have created one by now. The truth is that between the Fulani and the Hausa, there is a very badly structured sense of nationality. The way people talk about it, those who know, they will say a Pulo is a Pulo and a Kado is a Kado. It means that although they speak the same language, they have not managed to create a sense of nationality, and they have imposed that in every other part of Nigeria and in every Nigerian conference and situation. We just don't need, we don't have to be over-liberal. Let us confront the issues. When you allow a small minority to control a majority, as I once said in this station, they can only rule by falsehood and violence. Well, and that I have just one thing to point out properly. Do you know that the Gbagi of Nigeria, the Gwari, they are divided between 6 different states and have never been allowed to come together to form a state, whereas they are contiguous. But I'll tell you something. When you now have a governor, in fact 2 governors, Bauchi and Kebbi, when you now have 2 governors insisting that an ethnic group that does not even belong to Nigeria should be given special rights in Nigeria, and you find that those who are already in Nigeria, like the Gwari and many other ethnic groups, I will come to that, they are not even allowed to come together as an ethnic group. You will know that the source of the crisis is very strong. The agitation for state creation and for changing the boundaries of the various states began as early as 1904. The Ilorin people were already demanding to join their kith and kin in the western region. It never happened.
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. Na good thing say some Arewa people don't support this idea of regional government or disintegration of Nigeria. This forced marriage is done too long, and Nigerians they know they interested in this marriage again. Everybody want make them go their own region so that they go get their own region, so that they go develop their own region at their own pace. Nobody want make any other region they slow them down again, because you know say one Nigerian has come now it be. The problem what they encounter today for inside this country, now from the beginning of the creation of this country called Nigeria, now it been start from. Our founding fathers don't even believe in this country called Nigeria, because they know say now forced relationship it be. We hear everything when they talk for inside this video, and we say in as much as we don't tell when we get independence, we never make any reasonable progress. And that one I want to say the way they think and the way they reason they do our thing will be the same it be. And even as the creation of Nigeria a big mistake, because we know we won, this 1999 constitution can't complicate the problem again, because the Fulani Northern oligarchs are big hegemonies that then package that constitution, give Nigeria as their constitution. And a military constitution it be, because everything then do them so that it will favor one particular region of the country. And it be among the reasons why our problems today they complicated. Among the many problems we get now, the creation of more states where we say they balkanize several tribes and ethnic groups, where we say they're supposed to be together into various states so that they no go fit get unity. And even as we speak, our leaders they weaponize poverty so that we no go get the way without to withstand a big challenge them. The problem we get for inside this country too they complicated, and they too plenty. So in my own opinion, I think say division ain't be the best way to go. And if disintegration no dey possible, make we go back to regional government, because now this one ain't go fit benefit each region pass. So I will play the remaining part of the video so that we will listen to wetin other Nigerians talk about this matter. But before that one, if today ain't be the first time you visit our channel, beg make you like, make you share, make you subscribe.
We gave thought to the way things are presently. There is so much injustice in the system. It is known that the opens of Kogi do not belong to North Central. It is known that this Zulu area of Kebbi State do not belong to the Northwest. It's known Southern Kaduna, of course, does not belong to Northwest either. Southern Yobe, Southern Bauchi, Southern Borno, Gombe. It's known, but they are just mixed together where they will have no voice, where they will have no rights. Let's face the reality that these people belong to the Middle Belt. That's why they are.
Where there is homogeneity of traditional
Attitude,
culture,
everything.
you know.
The jaws are spread into 5 states. There's no reason for it. It's a means of disenfranchising them so that they cannot.
They spread their population so thin.
They are so large, but there are minorities everywhere.
Exactly.
So we have to cure. Once we keep sitting over this injustice, we will never have peace, no matter what happens. So let's face reality.
So mention each of these. I can see. I mean, it's in
the region now. First of all, nomenclature is very wrong. Nothing like South.
Okay.
So now we corrected the nomenclature. There is Northeast. There is Northwest, there is East Middle Belt, West Middle Belt.
Okay.
And whether we like it or not, East Middle Belt is essentially mainly Christian area. Benue, Plateau, Taraba, Adamawa, majority. In the western part, Middle Belt, Niger, Southern Kebbi, north of Kogi, is essentially also flavored Muslim. It's just a fact. We can't change the way we are. So then those ones belong to 2 regions in effect. The western region is known to be desirous of having its own region. The south, the same. The southeast, the same. Across this area, there's parts of Benue that we feel they are part of the southeast. There are parts of maybe rivers, people feel they are southeast. The map is not set in granite. It's not set that it cannot be changed.
Absolutely.
The map is for discussion. There'll be 1-year-long program for people to decide where they want to belong on either divide. It's not that say I'm a military general that I've decreed. I just announced on NTA that this is what should be. No. But it's a thoughtful outcome of what we have done.
A result of deliberations.
But then people are free to move to one side or the other side. The freedom is there.
49 people selected to write a constitution, wrote a constitution. 40 people in the Supreme Military Council promulgated a constitution for us. Under General Abubakar, government in which I served, I was in executive council. I never saw the draft constitution. And I was Minister of Information. It was my responsibility to publicize it to the country. On the day of swearing in of Obasanjo, we didn't have a copy of the constitution. I didn't know who was printing it. And my ministry was supposed to pay for the printing. And Obasanjo was sworn on a constitution that had not been read by anybody. And the National Assembly could not be constituted until 4 days after his swearing in, because there was no clean copy of the constitution. You cannot build on quicksand. A country cannot live on falsehood. The owners of the country, as represented by their leaders in the social cultural groups that formed a desire to be one country, have to be constituted into the kind of conference that President Jonathan summoned. They have the legal authority to speak on behalf of their various people that we want to be part of one country on the basis of the following rules. Unless we revisit that abnormality and historical abnormality, we will never have the ground norm. We will never have a constitution that conjures the loyalty of the people.
Actually, there is a say that who no like better thing? Who no like better thing? Yes. If Edo, if Plateau, if some Yorubas decided to join the Igbos, if the Igbos go, yes, they make their own decision because they've seen the integrities, they've seen the what Igbos are capable of doing. You understand? All this antagonizing against the Igbos is mere heaviness. Mere heaviness. Imagine what Igbos is doing in Lagos, and so part of Nigeria. Imagine what Igbos are doing. So it looks as if it's a miracle, or it's a kind of what am I going to put it? It's a kind of magic. It looks like a magic that Igbos will just come all of a sudden. They will become rich, and they will become, they will buy in properties. They will be contending with them, telling them, the so-called indigenous, you understand me? Telling them what to do and what not to do. You understand me? From there, they will be seeing, no, these people, they will get angry, unnecessarily angry. Hustle like the Igbos, you will not hustle like them. You fold the money will come. You just fold your hands barely, because your father has a house, a property. You understand me? You don't want to work again, waiting until your father die. You will inherit the property. You understand me? That is what is killing them. That is what is killing them. But Igbos, they don't depend on the properties the father has. They will hustle on their own and get their own even more massively than what his father has. You understand me now? That is why these people choose and decided to go. If Igbos will go, they will follow Igbos to go. That is it. Okay, let me tell you, I've been in Togo, I've been in Ghana, I've been in Cotonou here. You understand me now? I see what Igbos are doing. The market there in Cotonou there is Biafra. We call it Biafra market. It's Igbo that control the market.
Cotonou here.
Cotonou here, I'm telling you, is Biafra market. It's Igbo that controlling the market. What are you trying to tell me? I see what Igbos are doing, both outside Nigeria, more or less this country. If Edo should decide, go to Edo State, and one of my friends in Edo State, probably from Ekpoma, he came and he's telling me years back. He said years back he was telling me, Bro Charles, why is it that these Igbo people? I said, what happened to Igbo again? He said virtually that they bought all their lands and they are reselling to them again. I said, is it not their money they used to sell? Is it not your forefathers that sold to them? It's your forefathers that sold to them. And they say that this land they bought from their forefather, they bought it at peanuts. Now they are selling with dollars. They are selling with dollars. Probably those that came from abroad. I said that is business, Ogami. Go to that Edo, you see the biggest, highest mansion you see there is owned by the Igbo man. Igbo doesn't discriminate. They make everywhere their home, provided that you are going to get peace. They develop anywhere they go. Such people, you will identify with them.
Honestly, most of the Yorubas said, just as he said, Igbo doesn't discriminate. They don't reject their own. Just as, just as most Yorubas are calling their own Omale because of political gains. Just like the Lagos State governor's parents or candidates of Labour Party, they are calling him Tunedu. Why is a Yoruba son? Your take on this?
You know, one thing I will tell you is that Yorubas doesn't like truth. They hate anything truth. When you are telling a Yoruba man lies, that is when you become his friend.
By Yoruba, you mean some of the Yorubas, not all?
Virtually not all, but the majority of them. When you are telling them lies, you become their friend. When you are telling them the truth, you understand? They will hate you to the last. Yesterday here, one Yoruba man came. He was a graduate. He said he has been at the East for virtually for 6 years. He said the house he was living, you understand, he did not pay dime.
Of course.
The house he was living, he did not pay dime.
In the East, so Igbo land.
Igbo land. He said Igbo people are the most accommodative people that can accommodate. That's what we are seeing. That here is. He said go to East. He said what the problem of the Yorubas is that they are not traveling. You see them from Ekiti, they will travel, come to Lagos. That is their highest level. The next travel is to travel abroad. One Ghana man sing and say, landlord, travel and see. Travel and see. Because when you are traveling is part of education. When you are traveling, you will be getting so many experiences. Igbos are travelers because of this. Most of them are not educated, but they are more educated and more equipped than people that call themselves they are educated. More educated, more equipped, and more organized are people that call themselves that they are educated. We call them educated illiterates. You understand me? That is it.
Wow,
Yorubas, they don't like to work. They are too lazy. But not all of them. Not all of them.
The majority of the youth today are just depending on water,
and relying on the property that they have, probably their father has. Some say who went and killed their father when the father was alive. They will kill him, probably because of the property, to inherit the property. Is that not nonsense? That is nonsense. You understand me now?
So which means if actually we don't pray for that, there is another outbreak of war, that majority will support the Igbos.
Majority are supporting the Igbos even as at now. You said it earlier that some Yorubas are campaigning that if Igbo go, they will go with them. Yes. Why wouldn't they go with them? Because they've seen the docility, the industrious of these people. They'll see that they can accommodate more than every other person.
Without attacking anyone. Just as what's happened in Lagos State here, where Igbos have been attacked, they are not allowed to express their own political affiliations.
For what? A country that we call ourselves that this is our country. If we call you won't collect Lagos from your hand. It's not so. Since you are a Nigerian and since you are an indigenous, you are free to participate in anything, provided since Nigeria is concerned. That is it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother.